looking at the quadratic formula. Have you heard of the quadratic formula before? Do y'all remember learning it last year at the very... You learned it at the very end of the year.
I didn't go to school.
Know the quadratic formula? What is it? I know we learned.
All right, so some quadratic equations can be solved by factoring. We've done that, right? What's an example of a quadratic equation, first off?
Squared plus 6, or no, plus 9x plus 18. It's going to have to be that and then a square.
Oh, you said 11x. Quadratic equation? Yes? Does it have to have all three of those terms?
Well, it could be x or it can.
You don't have to have the x one. Do you have to have the constant? Not really. Do you have to have the x squared? That's how it is a quadratic, because it has a squared. Yeah.
Maybe because it has 4 little terms. I don't know. It has an x squared, 11x, 18, and 0. That's cool.
I don't know. All right. Some of them cannot be factored, right? And we've used completing the square. These that we're about to do, you can do by completing the square, but we're going to learn another way to do it as well. It's called the quadratic formula.
Is it faster?
I don't know. I like it better than completing the square, but that's just me. Some people prefer completing the square. It just depends. All right, so the quadratic formula is derived by completing the square on that formula. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. What are a, b, and c? They're just some number. They're all different numbers. They could be the same. Coefficients, yes. So we're going to start with the general quadratic equation, and then we're going to derive the actual quadratic formula. All right, this is the quadratic formula. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Do you have to learn it? Yes. Okay. I didn't have a chance to pull the video up beforehand. Well, no. I mean, we're going to watch a video. It's not long. No, we're going to go, we'll explain it. Which one was it? Oh. Man, now I'm trying to remember. Alright. Do y'all know Pop Goes the Weasel, that tune?
Pop goes.
I think it's, yeah. No. Y'all know Pop Goes the Weasel?
Like, that's good. And then the
Da 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 da. Yep. Okay. All right. Here, Jamar, will you close the door? You gotta lift you're gonna have to lift that up. Okay. So we're gonna listen to it, and then we're gonna actually sing along with it until everyone sings along with it, okay? Hope it's not too loud.
The quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
All right. So you don't have to sing it in quite that yeah, you don't have to sing it quite that annoyingly, but we're gonna sing it, okay? All right. So it does it twice. Quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Now you try.
Formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
I got it all over 2.
All right. We're going to do it again.
Everybody sing.
Yep, everybody's got to do it.
I got it.
Quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a.
Now you try.
Quadratic formula is negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. All right, do we need to do it again? Anybody?
No. No.
All right. Somebody go write the quadratic formula.
Oh,
You're all gonna have to go up there.
Start singing it tomorrow.
If you don't like that song and you need to learn another one, go Google it like I did. That's the one I found last year and I really liked it the best. All right, is he right?
yeah.
Okay. Somebody else come write it.
Got it. I got it.
I'm on second and third. Sean, you always look like
Is she right?
Yeah.
Okay, next. Yeah, Paige, if you just want to kind of fast forward, you probably could because there are 7 more after this.
It's like a scary movie down that, and then they're walking in the hallway and start singing.
All right, do you agree? Okay, somebody else?
Look like quiet. You're quiet.
Do you agree? Okay, next. Do you agree? I do. Do you agree? Okay, next. Last year I had 2 classes of 6, and so this didn't take quite as long in each class. 6. instead of, yeah, I had 2. They were split in 2. So it didn't take quite as long. Do you agree? Okay, next. Do you agree? Okay, next.
Hey. Take this look, this is more. Have you seen? No, she can fit it right here. No one.
Oh my gosh.
All right,
That baby was real.
do you agree? Okay, next. Somebody hadn't gone.
Like, I was going online Googling stuff, getting it like drawn out.
Do you agree? Do you agree?
Yes. No.
No.
No, I don't.
What should this be? Minus. All right, so. No, I won't do that. All right, so this question is going to be on your test. Whenever 71 is on your test, this question will be on there.
How?
Whenever lesson 71 is on your test, this question will be on there. It'll say, derive the quadratic formula. And it'll say, start with that and derive it.
That's just one question.
I don't.
Well, ask one question.
So we're going to go over how to derive it. But this is an actual question. You'll have it tonight on your homework. Number 6. Yeah, we will. You'll have it on tomorrow night's homework, number 9. You'll have it again on the next homework. And then I think you have it on one more homework after that. But you'll have it a couple of times. You need to practice doing it, because it is going to be a test question. If you do not have all the steps, it's going to be marked wrong. Okay? So, you use completing the square. When you are completing the square, what do you start by doing? Okay? I like to use lowercase letters, but if you want to use capitals, I don't care. We'll get there. Okay, so we moved our constant. What else do we have to do? Yeah, how do we get rid of the a? Divide everything by a. Do you see how that works? If you're not writing this down, that is a stupid decision. I've told you, you will have to be able to do this by yourself. It's just like b over a is the same thing as bx over a. So what do we do at this point? All right, we're looking at b over a. What do you multiply by? 1/2. Which is what? And then what do we do with that b over 2a? So what is b over 2a squared? 4a squared? Does that make sense? You square each term. You add that to both sides. Any questions so far? Okay, now what? How will this left side factor? Make sense? Right now we have negative c over a plus b squared over 4a squared. I need to make this part one fraction. Okay? So you have negative 4ac plus b squared over 4a squared, right? You already have 1a, and this one has 2, so you have 2, because that's the most that you need. And then you already have 1 here, so you just add 1 more a up here. You just combine into fractions. If you want, can you think of a better way to write this negative 4ac plus b squared? B squared minus 4ac. Do you remember that in part of the quadratic formula? Make sense? Do you see how that works? All I did was rewrite the order. It's yeah. Yeah, we're actually getting to the quadratic formula. All right, now what do we do? When we take the square root, what do we have to do on the right side? Plus or minus?
Oh my gosh.
All right, looking at the right side, we have a fraction that's in a radical. Do we want it like that? Can I do anything with the numerator? Is there any way to simplify it? Okay, so I'll leave it as the square root of b squared minus 4ac. What about the, yes. The square root of 4 is 2. The square root of a squared is a. Does that make sense? Any questions so far? Now what? All right, but we want it to be one fraction, right? How do we make it one fraction? Because they have the same denominator. Does that look familiar?
Yeah. My favorite is going to be gone.
So you're going to do this one, whenever it says derive it, you're going to do it on the back of your test.
Okay.
If you get it right the first time, you're done. If you have to do it for corrections, you get your corrections credit, but you have to do it again the next time, until you get it right the first time on a test.
I have a question.
Oh, wait. We have to have every step.
Mm-hmm.
I have,
You can't skip any steps. You got to show out.
20? You have 20 questions. Plus this.
This will be one of the 20. Yeah, this will be one of the 20. You'll put it on the back of your test. If you get it right, like the first time when you do your test, if you get it right, you don't have to do it again. Like it'll be on test after that test. Okay? If you get it correct on corrections, you have to do it again the next time. You can get it right on corrections every time, but you'll have to do it again every time. Until you get it right the first time around, get 5 points for it, you have to keep doing it on the test. It won't be on every test. It'll be on some of them. And once you get it right, you can skip them.
Get those points.
Yeah, you get that. You automatically get that question. Does that make sense? Say that again.
Until you get it right on the test, you get it right.
If you get it right, like when on test day, if you get it right, you're good. You don't have to do it again. But if you only get it right on corrections, you have to do it again until you get it right the first time. Like you can do it on corrections and get it correct, but you still have to do it on the next test. Correct. It should.
they'll always fix that.
Yeah, it should always end up being exactly this.
Wait, so how do we take this on homework?
That'd be okay. Go back to your notes and see. Do you have it? Does that make sense? That's why you want to have it in your notes so that you can go back to it. I'm telling you, this will be a question on the test. not the test tomorrow, but this will be a question on your test, so you need to learn how to do the steps. Any questions so far? So, you should know the quadratic formula, right? So, if you do not get the quadratic formula here, what does that mean? Okay, so that's how you know whether you actually derived it. If you end up with the quadratic formula, you hopefully did it correct. If you end up with something that's not the quadratic formula, you know you did something wrong.
You can erase it again.
Yeah. Y'all see how that works? Any questions on the deriving part? Okay, so we're actually going to use the quadratic formula now. No?
Watch this. Okay, so it's like this. In our first step, go ahead and be putting it in order.
Yeah, you're going to have. You're going to want it in order.
Like as
No, not for these. That's just for when you derive it. So, the quadratic equation was a squared plus bx plus c equals 0. Is that in the right form? What form should it be in? It should be
A squared minus 3.
minus 28 equals 0.
Is that okay if we like go ahead and put 28 on the other
No, she just said there. Because do not.
We're not going to derive the quadratic formula from here. We're actually going to use the quadratic formula. What is my a term? It's a 1. There's a 1 here. What is my b term? And what is my c? Negative 28. Do you see how that works? Okay, so x equals, what is my quadratic formula? Negative b plus or minus b squared. Okay, so now what are we going to do? Plug them in. What is our negative b going to become? Okay, 3 plus or minus, okay, negative 3 squared minus 4, do what? Times 1 times negative 28. All over 2 times 1. Y'all see how that works? So now do you see how you got to know the quadratic formula to be able to plug it into the quadratic formula? You don't want to have to derive the quadratic formula for all of these. It's a lot quicker to learn the formula. Okay, so 3 plus or minus the square root of what? 9
plus
112. Right? Now what? 9 plus 12, 112 is what? Okay. Can we leave our answer like that? 14 over 2, or that's if you add them. Can those reduce? Yeah. 3 plus 11 is 14 over 2, or 3 minus 11 is negative 8 over 2. And then sometimes they'll reduce, sometimes they won't. Will this factor? How will it factor? X minus 7 times x plus 4. So what does your x equal? And negative 4. Is that what we got? Usually they're not going to factor though. Does that make sense? But you get the...
Wait. Where did you plug in
What multiplies give you negative 28 and adds give you negative 3? X minus 7, x plus 4, and then x equals 7 or negative 4. Yes. If it says use quadratic formula, you have to use quadratic formula. If it says completing the square, you have to do completing the square. You can use another method to check it. If it says solve, I don't care. If it says solve by completing the square, you have to do the completing the square. Any other questions so far? Okay.
It just says, like, using quadratic formula to solve. We have to solve before that.
Any other questions? Okay. What did I already say to that? Okay. You think you can do quadratic formula for this one by yourself? Maybe? All right, well, someone just go plug it into their quadratic formula. Don't simplify it, just write it as it would be. Go ahead, Destiny. Like, actually put the numbers in. Don't simplify it any further, though. Yeah, you can go open it. Do you agree? Do I need to go over any part of this? Okay. Any questions on this part? Okay. So, negative 2 squared is minus all over. Any questions so far? Mm-hmm. 4 minus 60 would give you what? Yeah, you can make it 56i. Will 56 factor? Okay. Anything come out? a set of 2's, and what do you have left over? Do we leave it like that? 2, 2, and 6 will divide by. So 2 divided by 2 is plus or minus.
What do you do with that other?
2 divided by 2 is 1.
And then 1 plus square root of 14i, over 3, and then 1.
They're both a 1 though.
You have to multiply both.
You divide 2, 2, and 6. All of them have to reduce. You can write 1 plus square root of 14i over 3 and 1 minus square root of 14i over 3, or you can just leave it like that. You don't have to break them out into 2 different answers. Do those answers look similar to something else that we've gotten before?
Yes.
What do they look like? The completing the squares. Because instead of completing the square, we completed the square to get our quadratic formula. Does that make sense? Any questions on quadratic formula? So do you have to know the quadratic formula?
Yes.
Are these going to be very difficult to do without the quadratic formula?
Yeah, that's impossible. Question.
Okay. And it equals 0. It equals, well, it would factor like,
So really, put it like that.
if you plug it in here for your x, it should equal 0. That's how you would check it. Take that, plug it in for x.
Teachers, please allow all soccer players to report to the bus this time for a soccer game against Ash. Thank you.
Any questions on these? All right, what question is going to be on your test? Deriving. Derive. Derive, yeah. Any questions on the deriving part? Okay. All right, go ahead.